What's up, fam? We're back. Yeah, and rocking the shades today. Yeah, as you might be able to gather from the title of the video. Yeah, feeling pretty slick. Yeah, I managed to beat a Woman Grandmaster, which is the biggest win of my sort of chess journey. Yeah, they're certainly the highest rated player I've ever sort of managed to defeat. So yeah, feeling good. Yeah, feeling proud. But yeah, it wasn't quite on a equal playing field. So that's what I think in the title I'm going to put kind of because. So what it was a chess 960 simul, which means that she was playing a group of us. Yeah, I think there were 16 people or in total, and yeah, she's kind of going around all the boards and playing everybody at once. And not only that, it's also chess 960, which makes it even harder for her to do a simul, I think, because with regular chess, she can draw upon all of her sort of memorized openings and sort of play off her opponent's mistakes and things like that. But with 960, she's kind of got all of these new positions that she's never seen before, and and she has to kind of get around the group in a timely manner. So you can't sort of spend too long on any given board. So yeah, definitely a handicap for her. Definitely put me at an advantage. But I'm still going to count it. Yeah. I think I don't know. What do you think? Yeah, maybe I can still add that to my sort of chess achievements. Yeah, so the WGM in question is Jennifer Shahade, who is quite a prominent sort of figure in the chess world. Actually, she's I've known about her for a very long time. She's she does like a lot of commentary. Yeah, so she's broadcasted lots of top event tournaments from around the world and she's got a list of accolades as well. On her Wikipedia page, she's an author. She writes books, which kind of, in particular, sort of shines a light on what it's like being a girl or a female in the chess world. Sort of shining a light on the sort of difficulties that girls in particular face, feeling welcome in a male dominated space and things like that, which is all stuff that I can completely get on board with. We need more sort of female role models like her, and get more girls into the game. I've had that problem with my own chess club, and not seeing enough girls and ladies. So yeah, it was really, really cool. Yeah, and I got to meet her, got a book sign. I might put a picture up on the screen. Yeah, and then we got into it. So she was playing white on every single board. The 960 position was the same on every single board, which I guess is somewhat of a help to her. And so she just started by playing the first move for white, going around the group, and I think she played lots of different opening moves on move one. I mean, we can see this position. It's kind of, there's a lot of options that you can choose for white. So if we have a look, the bishops are in the normal sort of starting squares, which means that both of these pawn moves in the center make sense. Opening up the bishops in a normal way, or she can bring the knights out maybe, or also maybe think about fianchettoing the bishops. One of these kind of plans. So she was rattling off all sorts of different moves. I think the computer kind of likes some moves more than others, and I actually I got a bit lucky as well that the move that she chose for me was considered not the best. So she played the move pawn to b4, and if we can see, the computer already is not a huge fan of it. I mean, it looks fairly logical. Like I say, we're getting ready to sort of get the bishop on this square. this knight as well is almost certainly going to come to this square, so it kind of makes sense to get the pawn up before bringing the knight behind, and then you've got good control on these two squares. But I think the downsides to this move is that it weakens these light squares, in particular this square, which I can sort of easily bring a knight to this square, and if you look, none of white's pieces can sort of easily control this square. Yeah, so that's going to be a nice sort of safe square for me. It also kind of commits the king a little bit, because so now she's kind of committed to probably not castling this way, maybe looking to castle the other way, which it's just a bit inflexible, isn't it? Yeah, so I got a bit lucky maybe with her first opening move, and then so what I played was pawn to g6, which I think it's one of the better moves. The computer quite likes this move, I think. I think in the game, I had some time to think, because obviously she's going around all the other boards, so I get to really sort of sit and think about how I should play, because obviously I've got lots of options as well. And I was thinking, okay, maybe I should move a pawn in the center. But actually, I'll show you, if we play a move which looks very logical, playing something like d5, again, the computer evaluation actually swings back in favor of white, interestingly enough. And I think the reason I rejected this move is because I was a little bit afraid of the bishop coming to this square and sort of taking control of this long diagonal, and that kind of prevents me from doing the same, with this pawn move, because obviously my queen would be vulnerable behind, and how else to sort of develop this side of the board? Maybe I can move the knight, and sort of block the line, and then maybe have this plan, but then my knight's in the way of my queen and bishop, so. I wasn't sort of super big fan of that. So I decided to play g6 right away, which I think makes a lot of sense, and the computer quite likes it. Maybe it slightly prefers g5, but I just wanted to be nice and secure. Maybe keep the option open of castling this way. My plan was, bishop b2. I'm just going to play bishop g7. We're going to trade the bishops. And my queen is actually going to end up, on this line, and I think that's... pretty decent for me. So then she came back round again, and again, so she's under a bit of time pressure. She kind of needs to get around the group, so she kind of came back and immediately played knight f3. As you can see, the evaluation is just kind of favouring me more and more. It looks like what can be wrong with knight f3, right? But I think the problem is. There's a few options I had, but I played bishop g7. I might actually just turn off the computer evaluation, actually, so that we're not just completely just relying on what the computer's telling us, and we actually have to kind of look at the board and see what's going on. So I played bishop g7, which I was very happy with. I actually had a feeling that actually this is a good start. This is a good start to my game, because now my bishop and my queen are kind of taking good control on this diagonal. If the bishop can't come here anymore right now, because then we'll just take it, right? And we're also threatening this knight right away, so that's why she played knight b3. And then came back round, and now I played d5, which I think makes a lot of sense. Maybe opening up this bishop. My plan is to maybe bring this knight behind it. And just sort of grabbing some space in the center makes a lot of sense. She came round, and again, quite quickly, she played pawn to d4. I imagine her logic was, if I'm going to stake a claim in the center, she kind of wants to do the same. Sort of have this pawn, on d4. Kind of blocking my bishop a little bit, stopping my pawn moving forward. But actually, it creates, already some issues, and I was already starting to feel pretty optimistic in this position, because these light squares are becoming a little bit of an issue, and the king's still a few moves away from going castling this way. So you know, you can imagine if I get my knights to these squares, this king's going to be feeling a little bit shaky. So I played knight d6, which actually comes with a threat right away. And this time when she came back around, she had to have a bit of a think, actually. Not so clear how to deal with my threat of knight e4. So knight e4 is kind of a double attack, actually. We're attacking this pawn on f2, which I should have mentioned at the beginning, actually. So these pawns were unprotected from the beginning of the game. So it might have been, you know, good to look out for ways of attacking these pawns. But yeah, so I'm threatening this, which is attacking this square, but it's also attacking here, which is a fork. So I think she came back around and she hovered over playing bishop f4, but then she kind of hesitated and put the bishop back because she realised that, yeah, bishop f4, knight e4, and then how are you dealing with these threats? So yeah, so she actually disregarded bishop f4 in the end, and decided on bishop d2, which is I think yeah, the computer doesn't love this either, actually. Her plan is after knight e4 to tuck this bishop back on e1, protecting these two squares, but the problem with that is the king's even further away from castling this way, and the king's, yeah, again, kind of stuck on this side of the board where there's quite a few weaknesses. So, but at first I actually played knight b6, yeah, just bringing another piece. I felt like in the game I didn't need to rush with this. So I started with knight b6, and then she played e3, which makes sense, yeah, opening up this bishop. And then I jumped in straight away, yeah, knight e4, and we saw bishop e1, yeah, like I was saying. And now here, yeah, I made use of this square, which is renewing the threat, this fork as well, because we've got both knights now looking at this square. Yeah. Oh, by the way, so instead of bishop d2, I think the computer actually recommends playing something else like g4 or something, and then after knight e4, actually just moving over with the king and just defending this pawn with the king, and sort of getting out of the way of the fork. But yeah, it's not ideal, is it? But anyway, so yeah, knight b6, e3, yeah, knight e4, okay. And then, oh yeah, so in this position, she castled queenside. But unfortunately, yeah, I've been trying to figure it out on chess.com, but I can't sort of plug in these moves and tell it that it's a chess 960 game. So yeah, so if I do this, unfortunately it doesn't castle for me. So what I've had to do is actually just castle by hand. So I've had to sort of plug in these moves, which didn't actually happen, and just sort of reach the position where it's like she had castled, if that makes sense. So yeah, so ignore these next few moves. Let's see, boom, boom, boom. And then I just need to triangulate because this is the right position, but it's white to move, but it's actually my move. So I need to sort of do a little triangulation thing like that. And now we got the right position. Okay, cool. And then in this position, yeah, I missed a tactic here, actually. So it looks like I can play knight c3, yeah, and I think hopefully that move kind of jumps out at you, because we're attacking the rook, but we're also attacking this pawn. But I actually rejected it because I thought that after here, it doesn't matter. I know, yeah, the bishop can't take, right, because then we do get f2 and the queen's actually trapped in the corner. So yeah, I was expecting her to move the rook, and then, okay, so I can take this pawn. But after king b2, I thought my knight was getting trapped because, yeah, my knight didn't have any ways out, but I missed a detail, yeah, I missed something, yeah. And if you want to pause the video, yeah, I mean, yeah, see what I missed. But I think now we're at this position, yeah, hopefully you can see that this bishop is overworked, right, overloaded. It's defending two weaknesses at the same time. So I can actually just play knight takes b4. because if bishop takes, then we get f2, and that's what I missed. I thought my knight was getting trapped, but no, I could have played that. So I think if I did play knight c3, I think she would have ended up actually maybe just playing something like maybe playing something like a3 and giving up the exchange, actually, because losing these 2 pawns on the same side as your king is kind of a bit of a disaster. So but anyway, none of that happened. I didn't play knight c3 at all. So I actually played castle king side myself, which means that my king's going to end up here, my rook's going to end up here. Again, I've needed to just plug in a bunch of moves to sort of get to the right position. But yeah, so you can just ignore this, and it's even further, there's even more to do. So yeah, just ignore the next set of moves. I just need to get my king over there, and then this is the right position. Yeah, so it's like I've just castled kingside. Okay, cool. And then she actually played rook d3, because obviously she's a WGM. She probably noticed that I could, my knight wasn't getting trapped in that. I could escape to b4, so she didn't want to take the risk that I might actually end up finding that. So she played rook d3 to sort of overprotect this square. And then I played pawn to b6, which I think makes a lot of sense. I'm looking to bring my bishop out in this direction, perhaps, attack this rook. But also I've got ideas of playing pawn to c5, which is, very desirable, because, we're opening up this side of the board. And I would love it if, if I can get her to take my pawn like this, then that opens up my bishop and my queen, and my bishop can sort of, charge in with a check on b2, and that's looking great. So, my plan is to play c5. Okay, and then she played h4, which I think makes a lot of sense. Yeah, she wants to get this queen into the game. This square, and then maybe use this diagonal. And also, she's also got ideas of playing pawn to h5 as well. So, what did I play? I played bishop a6. So I just continued with my plan. I played bishop a6. I didn't really see any other possibilities with this bishop, really. I mean, here it's just kind of staring at a wall, and if I go this way, I mean, these squares are very passive, and if I go to this square, maybe I'm inviting a g4 and kind of some nasty stuff over there. I didn't consider this one too much, but I thought, this is the most logical way to play. And I saw that, so the rook is going to go back, and then my bishop's under attack, so it kind of forces me to trade. And we get this position, and the good thing is for her is that she doesn't have to worry about this knight c3 move anymore, because this rook is now protecting this pawn, right? So my knight does get trapped, if here I can't take on b4 because the bishop can take, because the rook's protecting the pawn. I hope that kind of makes sense. Instead I just I knew I had a good position though, so I was happy to just kind of slow play it. I was pretty confident I would be able to get this sort of idea in at some point. So for now, I just wanted to sort of not allow any sort of counterplay. I didn't want to see this move, I think the computer doesn't think this move is necessary at all. Apparently I should just play c5 and get things rolling, but I just wanted to kind of keep everything nice and secure. And then we had, queen to h2, which gets on this line. It's attacking this pawn straight away. And again, I think the computer still likes c5. I rejected this because I didn't want the queen coming into this square anyway and sort of attacking my pawns and things like that. But I think the computer likes maybe just sacrificing these pawns just to open up the position or something. But instead I just played rook c8, just defending this pawn. She played knight e5, which is looking at these squares makes some sense. You know, these squares are kind of weak for me, so that kind of makes sense. But yeah, I played c5 anyway. Finally got the move in that, yeah, I've been sort of planning for a little while, so yeah, we got that one in. She played queen f4, yeah, sort of activating the queen a little bit more. I have to be a little bit careful. I can't just, you know, just sort of be blind and just start taking stuff. She's threatening this pawn now, yeah, with the queen and the knight, so I decided to just play knight d6, yeah, just kind of calmly sort of defending this with the knight, and then yeah, my plan is to open up the position. She took once, I took back, and then she played knight d7, yeah, which makes sense, right? Yeah, attacking the rook, attacking the pawn. I played rook b5, just trying to add a bit more protection here, and yeah, we saw, yeah, she did take there. I played knight takes, and then in this position, yeah, this is where I made a bit of a mistake. Yeah, the computer loves this position for black. I think it's like minus like 4 or something, -3 or -4. Just this king is so weak, and yeah, I just got a great position here. But the move I played, I think the evaluation drops to about -2, so yeah, a little bit of a mistake, my next move. And yeah, I'll show you what I played. I played rook takes knight because I saw that, yeah, so I'm happy to sort of sacrifice this rook for the knight just to open up this line, because I saw that after pawn takes rook, I would have bishop to b2 check. Yeah, now you know, we're starting to hunt this king down a little bit, and I thought this looks good, and I didn't really sort of think about anything else, and I just went for that. But yeah, there's a saying in chess which goes, when you see a good move, look for a better one. And I think there's a couple of moves that, yeah, kind of maintained a sort of -4 evaluation. You can pause the video, see if you can come up with some other ideas maybe. But okay, yeah, I'll show you. So pawn e5, the computer really likes, and actually, yeah, I think if I considered that, I might have gone for it because it looks great, doesn't it? I mean, we're attacking the queen, we're attacking the pawn. The pawn can't take because then this knight's hanging. Well, they do get my knight, but then we'll have, so if they can take this knight, but then we're getting c2. So yeah, again, it's just because this pawn's not really doing much back here, so it makes sense to just use it to sort of break open the position, undermine this knight a little bit. So that's a good move. Another great move as well is bishop h6, which maybe is a little bit harder to sort of consider, but the idea is when the queen moves and we take the knight and the pawn recaptures, now all of a sudden it's our queen that's sort of leading the charge, and we can actually play queen all the way to the corner. And the computer loves this, yeah, and it makes sense, you know. We're going to see like here, or something like that, and this king is in big trouble. But yeah, so unfortunately I didn't find those moves, but yeah, I played rook takes c5, d takes c5, and then I played, yeah, bishop b2, yeah, that's what I was talking about. And she had two options, yeah, she can go this way or this way. Computer thinks she has to try and run this way, actually, which looks really scary. And I think the reason she rejected it is it allows me to sort of get this knight out of danger with a check, and she wasn't a fan of that. Yeah, I'm not sure she wanted to allow that. I think she wanted to go here and sort of maintain this attack on the knight, you know. So that's what she did. But now, yeah, the computer loves this for me again. I played rook b8. I don't need to react to this threat on the knight straight away, because yeah, I'm lining up some discoveries. So for example, if pawn takes knight, I can play bishop e5 and just win the queen, you know, it's a check and I'm attacking the queen. But I think even better is bishop a3, and that's just leading to mate, because yeah, the bishop's holding this square, the queen's holding this square, which means that white needs to sort of block the check with something. And if bishop blocks, actually we can just play mate. So that's good. And if the queen blocks, obviously, yeah, we're just going to be taking that, and that's obviously completely winning. So so instead of taking the knight, yeah, she didn't take the knight. Instead, she tried bishop b4, just trying to block this line a little bit. And now, yeah, I got momentarily a little bit worried because my knight's under fire and I can't move my knight because my rook's behind it, unprotected. But I found a good move here, yeah. I think there are a few good moves, but what I played was certainly one of them. I played bishop e5, attacking the queen. Sort of, yeah, getting it away from this diagonal. And also the queen's the only protector of this bishop. And if we notice, the queen can't move and sort of stay connected to this bishop, you know, because all of these squares along here are all covered by my pieces. So so I knew this was great. Yeah, and I was fairly confident I was going to win the game now. So yeah, getting quite excited. But yeah, queen f3 was played, and then I played yeah, rook takes b4, right? Yeah, with a check. We saw king c1 only move, and then I think there's a few ways to win, but I think I found a very sort of concrete, very clean way to do it. I just, yeah, consider your checks. I just played a check, and if the king goes this way, again, we're going to have bishop a3, and that's going to be mate. So the king has to go here, and now I can get my knight out of the way with a check. And yeah, this is just completely over. So wherever the, you know, if the king goes to this square, my queen's going to be swooping into c3. If it goes to this square, at minimum, I've got knight c3, which is a fork, you know, grabbing a rook. So I played knight e4, and she resigned. Yeah, and yeah, it was really cool. Yeah, it was yeah, it was a great moment for me, and yeah, I had a good day. It was a pleasure playing, and yeah, yeah. And I think it's given me, hopefully it'll give me like a little bit of a boost of confidence, you know. I think if you asked me 5 years ago, you know, could I ever beat a grandmaster, I'd probably say, oh no, they're just on a sort of a different level. But I think, yeah, I think there's a lot of psychology that goes into chess, and I think you just want to try and treat all of your opponents equally, and try to be, you know, just vigilant and stubborn, and just try and play your best against anybody. And you know, things like this can happen. You know, these grandmasters are obviously, you know, very talented, very strong players, but they are human as well, and they can make mistakes. So you never know. You never know what can happen. You know. Okay, cool. I think that's everything. Yeah. Hope you enjoyed this one, and yeah, I'll see you next time. Okay, cool. See you later. Bye.